Well, good afternoon. I think there are some other people here, but the food was so good they can't break free or something, but we'll go ahead and get started anyway to move on with the day. As far as announcements go, I mentioned it this morning, but should have in your bulletin an insert if you would be interested in helping to donate some of the toys or supplies that we know we're going to need for our child care center. There is a link on here. Again, I know you'd have to write all this in manually, which is a pain. We'll try to send this out in an email as well with the link. Then you could just click it, and it should take you right there. But if that's something you'd like to do, that would be wonderful. It'll work just like a wedding or gift registry of some sort. You can just go on there and see what still hasn't been purchased. And if you want to purchase any of those items, you can. Excuse me. Whoa. Good lunch. That's not going to work well. But anyway, keep that in mind. We did have some folks that came up here, excuse me, about the, no, I already got some of that in there. That's my problem. Thank you anyway. About the yard sale. Thank you. So we are going to try to do that to get together. I know there's some folks who are going to come in through the week and try to determine what things that we officially want to get rid of. Then we'll need people who are willing to take those items and put them into boxes or whatever that will enable us to transport them up and display them. We're going to have to do some pricing on them, and then on Saturday we'll have to have folks willing to carry stuff up, set it up, and man the tables. So if you weren't able to come to the meeting but you would be interested in helping in any way with this, since we are going to attempt to do this, come and see me, or you could see Teresa about that, and we can let you know what we're trying to do and where you can go to help. If you can come Wednesday for prayer or Bible study, we'd appreciate it, 6:30. Looking forward to, we'll look at 3 parables, but it shouldn't take a huge amount of time to do that because they're all just simple stories telling the same truth, but in 3 different ways. And I do think the 3 specific stories have a specific element of the truth that they're trying to bring out. So we'll try to evaluate that on Wednesday night. Specifically, it's my understanding that it is the attitude that we are to have toward repentant sinners that he has in mind with these parables. So we'll look at that and the reasons for it on Wednesday night at 6:30. The Oversight Committee will meet this Thursday at 6. Please keep that in mind. New schedules on the back table for fellowship dinners as well as the fellowship lunches. And then if there's someone who would be interested in coordinating the chili cook-off this year, it's going to be Saturday, October the 23rd. If you have any interest in trying to help get that together and organize it, please come and see me about that as soon as possible. And we'd love to give you that opportunity to serve. Got a note from my daughter, came in. They did get to their final destination, and Brother Beeman met them, and they're on a 2-hour car drive now to their end, so the end of their 2-day journey to get to Africa. So, but they're there safely, and so I think they get to start out, which is probably good because they're probably all comatose. I think they get to go on a safari tomorrow, and then they start on Tuesday maybe with the ministry out in one of the villages. But continue to pray for them. Thank you for your prayers for their safety. And I think the Mitchells actually are coming now. They didn't go with this group. They were part of a missions conference down at Bob Jones University, so they'll be traveling on their own separately. So you could be praying for their safety as they travel down to meet up with the rest of the group. All right. Tonight, all of our songs, because this is the last Sunday of the month, we're doing composers or authors of hymns, and tonight is Charles Wesley, which I think he may be the father of modern hymnody. I don't know if that's the title he gets or if that's Isaac Watts. I'm not sure. But anyway, Bethany's going to come and read a little bit about him, and then we're going to sing 3 of his songs tonight during our song service.
Charles Wesley was said to have averaged 10 poetic lines a day for 50 years. He wrote 8,989 hymns, 10 times the volume composed by the only other candidate, Isaac Watts, who could conceivably claim to be the world's greatest hymn writer. He composed some of the most memorable and lasting hymns of the church. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and Can It Be, O 4,000 Tongues to Sing, Love Divine, All Loves Excelling, Jesus, Lover of My Soul, Christ the Lord is Risen Today, Soldiers of Christ Arise, and Rejoice, the Lord is King. And yet he's often referred to as the forgotten Wesley. His brother John is considered the organizational genius behind the founding of Methodism. But without the hymns of Charles, the Methodist movement may have gone nowhere. As one historian put it, the early Methodists were taught and led as much through Charles's hymns as through sermons and John Wesley's pamphlets. Charles Wesley was the 18th of Samuel and Susanna Wesley's 19 children. Only 10 lived to maturity. He was born prematurely in December 1707 and appeared dead. He lay silent, wrapped in wool for weeks. When older, Charles joined his siblings as each day his mother, Susanna, who knew Greek, Latin, and French, methodically taught them for 6 hours. Charles then spent 13 years at Westminster School, where the only language allowed in public was Latin. He added 9 years at Oxford, where he received his master's degree. It was said that he could reel off the Latin poet Virgil by the half hour. It was off to Oxford University next, and to counteract the spiritual tepidity of the school, Charles formed the Holy Club, and with 2 or 3 others celebrated communion weekly and observed a strict regimen of spiritual study. Because of the group's religious regimen, which later included early rising, Bible study, and prison ministry, members were called Methodists. In 1735, Charles joined his brother John. They were now both ordained to become a missionary to the colony of Georgia. John as chaplain of the rough outpost, and Charles as secretary to Governor Oglethorpe. Shot at, slandered, suffering sickness, shunned even by Oglethorpe, Charles could have echoed Brother John's sentiments as they dejectedly returned to England the following year. I went to America to convert the Indians, but oh, who will convert me? It turned out to be the Moravians. After returning to England, Charles taught English to Moravian Peter Bowler, who prompted Charles to look at the state of his soul more deeply. During May 1738, Charles began reading Martin Luther's volume on Galatians while ill. He wrote in his diary, "I labored, waited, and prayed to feel who loved me and gave himself for me." He shortly found himself convinced and journaled, "I now found myself at peace with God and rejoiced in hope of loving Christ." 2 days later, he began writing a hymn celebrating his conversion. Throughout his adult life, Charles wrote predominantly hymns for use in Methodist meetings. He produced 56 volumes of hymns in 53 years, producing in his lyrics what Brother John called a distinct and full account of scriptural Christianity. The Methodists became known and sometimes mocked for their exuberant singing of Charles's hymns. A contemporary observer recorded, "The song of the Methodists is the most beautiful I've ever heard. They sing in a proper way, with devotion, serene mind, and charm." Charles Wesley quickly earned admiration for his ability to capture universal Christian experience in memorable verse. In the following century, Henry Ward Beecher declared, "I would rather have written that hymn of Wesley's, 'Jesus, lover of my soul,' than to have the fame of all the kings that ever sat on the earth." The compiler of the massive Dictionary of Hymnology, John Julian, concluded that perhaps taking quantity and quality into consideration, Charles Wesley was the greatest hymn writer of all ages.
So let's turn to number 111 and sing one of Charles's hymns, "And Can It Be?" Stand.